Up nerds, it's Steve from the Nerd Cantina, and I pulled myself away from Disney Plus long enough to go see a movie this week. In honor of Disney Plus, though, I busted out my favorite shirt. Nice crossover between my favorite Disney movie and one of my favorite Marvel heroes. It's pretty dope, do I have to say. But this week I went and saw Ford versus Ferrari. Now, I went in thinking that this was going to be a pretty good movie. From the trailers, you get a good feel of what the story is. Ferrari kind of ran the table at the big foreign races, Le Mans, the 24-hour race. It was the biggest of its time. Ferrari was very famous for winning it over and over and over again. No one could beat them. They had the speed records, the everything. They just dominated. And us Americans, as we typically do, went in thinking, fuck them. I'm gonna win this shit. So during some business negotiations, Ferrari kind of put out a personal challenge, and Ford said, "All right, we're gonna do this." So they got Carroll Shelby, who at the time was a famous car builder, and decided to build a car for Ford and try to win the Le Mans, and gave us one of the most famous cars in history, the Shelby GT40. This movie depicted all the characters phenomenally. Everybody really stepped up to the plate. Christian Bale plays Ken Miles, who ended up going down in race history. John Barenthal plays Lee Iacocca, who was famous in the car industry for decades. Catriona Balfe played Molly Miles, who's the wife of Ken Miles, and actually had a very good role to kind of bring a softer tone to a very kind of masculine movie. I mean, it's a movie about muscle cars and race cars and driving fast and things like that. And she brought a lot of a finer touch to a lot of the scenes, because they do focus on Ken Miles' home life and family life a little bit, and you really get a sense of family in this movie, not just from Ken Miles' family life, but also his relationship with Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon. They had a really good friendship, and you really get bought into these characters. They did a really good job of really tying the audience to the content, to the characters. It's you're highly entertained throughout the whole movie, and you really are kind of rooting for these guys. The action scenes, the actual racing scenes, were phenomenal. This is by far the best racing movie since Days of Thunder. I went and saw it in the Dolby theater, so to have the extra loud sounds, the surround sound, that when they would do sweeping shots and they'd pass the engines, you'd feel your chair rumble. It just really brought the experience to a higher level. So if you have a chance to go see it in an IMAX or a Dolby, somewhere where that sound's really going to hit you, I do suggest going and seeing it in that theater. The length of the movie was pretty long. I think it clocked in at about over 2 hours, two hours and some change. But you really needed it. You get sucked into the story. It is a very interesting story. It brings you back to a time when in America where we took pride on being the best, but we did it through innovation, determination, drive, pun intended, instead of just claiming we're the best without having any stats or facts to back it up, as we do nowadays. This it was back in the 60s where we took pride in really backing up our American arrogance, I guess you could say. So it was good to see that again, to not just assume that we're great at things, but to go out and challenge the world and prove it. It really felt good to watch that story on screen. I'm sure they took some creative liberties with this movie. I mean, they always do, but it is based on a true story. You can always go do your research to find out the actual facts, documentary style. But for the most part, like you really enjoy yourself in this movie. I really can't say enough good things about it. I would really suggest that you go try to catch this one. I know a lot of people only get to see a few movies a year. It's hard to get out to the theater sometimes, but this is definitely worth seeing on the big screen. It's worth seeing with the surround sound. The depictions of the races are great. To think that people were in cars driving for 24 hours straight. They start the races off, and it was the day where they started on the wall and you actually had to run to your car and get in the car. It was really kind of nostalgic, and I'm not even a car guy. I don't drive fast cars. My first car was an 84 Tornado. My favorite car that I've owned was an 88 Cadillac Fleetwood. I like to cruise, but even I got really kind of like into this and into the history and into the whole just overall story of American dominance and working hard and innovating. And no, it was just a great flick. So go out, go see it. You won't be disappointed. I don't know if it's gonna win any awards. We have some tough performances this year to keep up with. So I don't know if Bale or Damon or anybody might get some nominations. But as a movie as a whole, it was really enjoyable. It was really good. So get to the theater, come back, leave a comment on what you thought, subscribe to the channel, hit the nerdcantina.com. Come join us on Facebook at the nerdcantina.com/community. Do all that jazz. You guys know the routine. Come back next week and I'll give you another movie. Take care, nerds.